we've known each other for a little while now. We've had some laughs, we've had some tough conversations, and gosh, these last 10 weeks, they've meant a lot to me. So I was hoping that we might be able to take our relationship to the next level. Hi there, I'm Michelle with the Goffstown Public Library, where I'm an adult services librarian. If you're new here, welcome to our library and welcome to Book Talk with Michelle. When I first started this series on our channel, I wasn't sure how long I'd be at it, but 10 videos and 150 subscribers later, I think I'll stick around on this platform for a bit longer. And I'd be remiss if I let this channel go on without doing the Booktube Newbie Tag, a set of questions designed for you to get to know me better. So let's check it out. Why did I start this channel? Well, I started this channel at the height of the coronavirus pandemic when libraries across the world were closed. And I was hoping to be able to recreate some of the magic that libraries bring to my life through an online video format. That's why I wanted to talk about books, reach readers who also love to talk about books, connect with my community, and provide a little bit of levity in a hard time. What are some fun and unique things that I could bring to Booktube? Well, I'd say several things about this channel converge to make it pretty unique. First, I am one of several creators on this channel who make content for you. I'm doing traditional Booktube style videos, the talking head, the reviews about books, etc. But we also have things like story times, how-tos, crafts, cooking videos, recordings of live presentations, and more. Everything the library has, we tried to bring it online. But we also have our other librarians doing Booktube videos for different age groups. Stacy, our teen library assistant, she's been doing great reviews for the YA genre, and Miss Patty, our children's librarian, has been making book talks for elementary and middle grade kiddos. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is that as a librarian, I have a unique perspective on the book industry. I think every player in the book industry has its part. The booksellers, the readers, the libraries, the publishers. I know some other creators on this platform are also librarians. I'm particularly fond of Ashley from Bookish Realm, so I hope I can add my voice to that conversation. And third, I am not one who usually reads or recommends the most popular books. The biggest, blockbusteriest titles, things like Where the Crawdads Sing, or Becoming, or The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, I'm probably not going to be talking about here. That's not to say that I never read popular books or talk about them, but those titles, they're going to get read no matter what I say or do. Instead, I want to lift up backlist titles, books that were popular once and aren't anymore, and smaller authors that you might not have heard of. All in all, I think those three things make this a unique channel that you should subscribe to. What am I most excited about for this new channel? I'm most excited to be sharing this series on the Goffstown Public Library's channel because I love talking about books. It's my favorite part of being a librarian. While I'm fortunate enough to be surrounded by a literary community offline, I'm hoping to start the conversation to reach even more people through YouTube. I'm especially excited to reach people who might not be regular readers or library users, because I want to spread the library love as far as I can. As readers, we all know how amazing books are, and it's easy to lose sight of the fact that the average American only reads one book per year, and that's the average. There are people on Booktube who read 20 books a month, so think about the amount of people who haven't touched a book in many years. I'm hopeful to reach them and share how reading and the library can fit into their life. Why do I love reading? I love reading because it's an activity that rewards being smart. I love using my brain, thinking and learning, and making unlikely connections between things. Unfortunately, the world as a whole is not always structured to reward intelligence and critical thinking. But books are. It's in my experience that a reader reaps the biggest rewards out of the activity when they engage with the material. When they turn their brains on. And more than that, the protagonists in books are often rewarded for being smart over being beautiful or athletic or charming. At least the books that I like best do this. So I love reading to exercise my brain, whether that's through satire or investigative reporting or romance. Plus, I like to feel validated as a smart person in the world. When did I start reading, and what books or series got me into reading? I started reading in first grade, so I was a bit of a late reader for my age group. But after I learned, I never stopped. I would credit my love of storytelling to my favorite picture books, the Carl books by Alexandra. And I just need to give a quick shout out to my lovely parents for reading these books for me for so many years. I'm giving this shout out because the picture books have no words. The reader has to add the words when they tell the story to accompany the beautiful watercolor illustrations about a very bad baby and a very good dog. So I would often get mad at my father when he read because it would be different than Mom. And I just had to say, Dad, you didn't deserve that abuse. I'm so sorry. Anyway, I was a very voracious reader in elementary school. I enjoyed series like the Magic Tree House books, the Babysitter's Club books, the A to Z Mysteries, and especially the Jewel Kingdom books, where princesses representing 4 gems have adventures and learn life lessons. When I was reading them, they had covers like these, and those covers hold a special place in my heart. But I was so excited to see that Scholastic has actually reprinted this series with illustrated covers to reach a new generation. The Harry Potter series carried me from elementary to middle school, and by the time I was in 8th grade, I was reading adult books. Paradoxically, I didn't find or enjoy the YA genre until I was already an adult. But I remember reading for both fun and class throughout high school. When I got my first job at a public library, I suddenly had access to all the books I could ever want on a daily basis. It's at that point that I started getting into nonfiction, specifically parenting books, and I have no idea why I love parenting books so much when I myself am not a parent, but I really like reading them. My favorite at that time period was Bringing Up Bébé by Pamela Druckerman. In college, I mostly read classics that I wasn't exposed to in high school, and when I got a job at a different public library, I realized that I loved graphic novels. The first one I ever read was The Complete Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi, but I knew I was hooked on the format when I read Through the Woods by Emily Carroll. Oh, and then I took an internship as a children's and teen librarian one summer, so I started to read YA. I read down the whole New York Times bestseller list, which included We Were Liars by E. Lockhart, Ketchup Clouds by Annabelle Pitcher, Winger by Andrew Smith, and my favorite teen book, Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alire-Sayens. Now I have graduated college, I've gotten my master's degree, and I'm working at yet another public library, and my taste has pretty much stabilized into adult fiction. But who knows, maybe that'll change soon. So that was all the long way of saying I've been reading since I learned how, and there are plenty of books and series that are responsible for getting me and keeping me reading. What questions would I ask my favorite booktubers? Well, I've noticed on Booktube there is definitely a culture of buying books. So I would ask all those established booktubers out there if they have a library card and if they use it or not. What challenges with starting a Booktube channel do I think will be the hardest to overcome? To be honest, it has been difficult to express my own opinions about books. As a librarian, it often doesn't matter what I like to read or what I think about books. If I'm helping someone, what I like to read doesn't matter. What they like to read matters. And if I'm hosting a book discussion, the discussion isn't for me, it's for all the participants. So there are very few avenues for me to talk about the books that I love, except for this one. Generally, I'm just not the kind of person who wants to share my opinions and possibly dissuade someone from reading a book they'll really like when it just wasn't my cup of tea. So I think that's the biggest challenge that I'm fighting to overcome. I want to be comfortable talking about my own opinions about books while leaving room for others to form their own opinions. Where do I read? Well, not at work. That is a stereotype of librarians. I almost never get the chance to read at work. Even when the book is actually for work, like if I'm reading a book club book or a professional development book, I mostly read at my house. I love reading outside when the weather allows, and I do often listen to audiobooks on my phone. I'm not a big ebook reader right now. I have been in the past, and I'll be happy to sing ebooks praises, but at this season in my life, I'm just not interested in reading on a screen. And last but not least, what kind of books do I like to read? I consider myself a very adventurous reader, and I love to read outside of my comfort zone. But that being said, I do in fact have a comfort zone. Mostly I prefer nonfiction books, mainly in the social sciences, horror books, my favorite author is Joe Hill, and graphic novels because I love storytelling through art. And if you watch back through my other videos, you'll see that I don't only talk about these genres, even though they are my favorites. I've reviewed things from romance to mystery to literary fiction, and I even threw in a DVD once. So I'll continue to talk about many books, some of which will be my faves, and some of them will not be. Let me know in the comments what kind of books you like to read. Are we literary soulmates, or are we bringing different perspectives to the table? Both are great. And that's it, my Booktube Newbie Tag. Thank you so much for watching. And like I said, leave a comment if you have more questions about me as a reader, or if you want to know something about the library, or if you just want to send some love my way. As always, the books I mentioned today are listed in the description below, along with information about how to get started with downloadable content from our library. All you need is your library card to start downloading books and audiobooks and movies and more free with your library card. Like and share if you got something out of today's video, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of me every week. But more than just me, you will also get story times, book talks for all ages, crafts, how-tos, and more like I talked about earlier. I'll be back here next Saturday for another episode of Book Talk with Michelle. In the meantime, you can follow the Goffstown Public Library on social media for even more book recommendations, or you could visit goffstownlibrary.com and see what's in the catalog yourself. Again, I'm Michelle with the Goffstown Public Library, and I'll check you out later. Bye!